It's very shaky. It's hard to hold it like this.
Hi everybody, I'm Ana-La-Rai of Sparkles of Love, and today in Life in the Sparkly Lane, as promised, I want to give you a tour of my renovated heart studio. And we're here on Vancouver Island in the backyard. It's been a rainy day yesterday, much needed here on the island. But I want to share with you first is why we renovated, and then we'll move inside. So this year, for the very first time, I picked a word of the year. I've never done it. I have a friend who's done it for years. And the word that came to me was elevate. And I had no idea when it came to me in December for 2026 that it would change so much in my life. And a number of weeks ago, Christian said to me, why don't we, because we like to do a project together, and last year we did the garden shed, and this year he said, why don't we do your heart studio? And to be quite honest, I had never ever considered it. I was so grateful. We moved into this house 6 years ago this week, and I was so grateful to have an art space that was my own, that I could leave the mess and close the door, that I could paint in, and the paint goes everywhere, and it did. And it I was thrilled. Now, it used to be sort of a woodworking shop, and it was brown hardy plank and really unattractive. Let's just put it that way. But I was so grateful to have it because I had this space, and Christian um, built me a custom table that filled most of the room and went up against the wall, and he built me shelves and drawing racks and put in lighting, and we put in Wi-Fi. And to just have it these past 6 years has been the best. I painted a lot. I had friends in there, and so I was so grateful. But now it's really mine. It's more a reflection of me. Now it's been elevated, and it started with a single panel of paint, and it grew. And then we decided, okay, we're going to renovate the whole thing, and you'll see it in a minute. And then what happened was we were sitting outside having coffee and chai one morning across the garden, looking at it, and it was this ugly brown. And it was so unattractive. And that's probably when some of you saw me post, what should I paint it? How should I paint it? And what I chose, it's the color is actually called Emerald Lake. In the very bottom rose, you'll see that it. And then I added white and kept getting it variegated, but I don't think that's the right name for it. I think it's called something else when you add the colors. So this is the new color. And I'd like to invite you in and show you some of the inside and some of my work. And I have a channeled message for you, and I need your help with something. So come on in. So it's a far cry from the dark brown, a very, very far cry from the dark brown. And I'll have Christian just swing the camera around. And we took everything down and repainted all the walls. This is where all my storage of my paints and my canvases and my brushes. The windows got cleaned, so there's so much light in here. New lighting was added. We put a pegboard up, so we took shelves down, and now there's and I found a pink clock. How perfect. And down there at the bottom, I can now store all my jewelry making in here and hang my aprons. And then I love, one of the things I did was I changed all the switch plates and painted them to match the colors in here on the sides. So it was really kind of cool because over here is where I started. And the room is this funny shape, but these walls made it perfect because they're already divided. These were the hardy plank. So it started with this one blue, and eventually all these colors came in, and then the rest went white. And to me, it just feels so light and airy, and I love, love, love being in here. And then what we did is we put little shelves so I could display some of my art. This is an old piece of favorite. Some we did a couple of years ago for our sacred ceremony. This piece, though, is not mine. This is Autumn Skies, because it was a test from when I was just at a retreat with her. And it's just been delightful. And then the biggest change, where it all started, is that the table used to be this much bigger, right, if you can see from here to here. And it went right up against the wall, and I couldn't reach the back. I couldn't get around here. So whenever I was in here, I had my back to the garden. I had my back to the trees. From here, I can see the ocean. You probably can't. So there's this beautiful, the fire pit, the apple trees, my dahlias, the dogs running back and forth. So what we did, not we, the proverbial we, Christian flipped the table, because the underside, if you saw it, is still filled with paint, and recut it. Oh, there, maybe he's showing you now. And he recut it in a smaller size, and we positioned it differently. So now I can pull up, I can sit down, I can look at the dogs, I can see the yard. So, and there's so much more light. So I want to show you a couple of pictures I printed this morning that will show you how different it looked. And so if you can see, it was the brown hardy plank. That was me painting. And you can see here, the walls weren't finished, and there were other things. Everything was pretty gungy. And this one, you saw, it wasn't very pretty. So I promised that I would show you a couple of paintings, and I want to do that. And so this, as some of you know, I'm learning to paint with Autumn Sky. I've done 3 of her retreats. I would highly recommend them. And the first one I did was in 2024. I did 2 of them. And so retreat number 2, I did this beautiful, what I love, this fairy. But she was never finished. I couldn't frame her, I couldn't sign her, and I did this week. So she always felt unfinished. So I added the 2 rows of gold leaf. Not perfect. I've never done gold leaf. It was a learning. And I signed it down here the way I sign my paintings, and I just love her. So now I can get her framed. But I'd like your help. I don't have a name for this painting. And so I got to figure out a name. So I'm going to set something up on social media, or you can post down here and let me know if you have any suggestions for her name, the name of the painting. And remember, I've only ever done 1 painting before, so this was it from a blank canvas. So the painting I started in May is already named. It's called Flowers Make My Heart Happy. And some of you have seen I posted a little bit. I've done some more work on it. I've done some more work on the straw flowers, so they look a little more. I've improved the hydrangea. I still have a little more work to do here on the dahlia. And boy, flowers are difficult. Way, 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 way more difficult than I ever thought. And then I will be doing the glaze. And Sky teaches the grayscale way, that a way that a lot of masters do. So you do everything in shades of gray, and then at the end, you glaze in color. So let me show you the other type of painting I'm still doing that I've come back to is mandalas, the dot paintings. So I'll show you. Now, all of the ones I'm going to show you are tests. So I'm not very good at this yet. I'm really, it is so challenging to try and get the dots in the right spot, or get them even, or not look a mess. So there's one of them. So again, all tests, nothing I would sell, nothing I'd put on my website, but these were fun for me. But again, learning, because it's far harder than I ever thought. And this was test number 1 on February 15th of this year when I came back to doing all of this. And here's another one of them. And this one is probably my favorite. Is test number 4 on the 21st of February. But again, if you look at it closely, it's not even. You don't have to look real close. So I wanted to talk to you and share with you about creativity because the guides have asked me to. And there's a little message coming through, and it's Lord Melchizedek is going to come through. So I did a test run the other day where we filmed all of this to try and see how it would go, because we've never filmed with my camera this way. And so Lord Melchizedek came through then. So he's going to come through again here. So just one second. Greetings, beloved ones. I am Lord Melchizedek, and I come to this day to speak to you about the importance of creativity. And yes, it is fun for you, and many of you have various creative outlets, from art and knitting to gardening to cooking to building new cars to woodworking, many to creative dance. There are millions, literally, of ways to be creative on your planet, and it is wonderful that you have creative outlets. But in this time here, you are now in the midsummer of 2026. The world is changing. The energies on the planet are changing. And creativity is becoming more and more important. And you ask why? It is so important because it is a greater and deeper connection to the flow, to the divine, to who you truly are. When you move into a creative state, not when you're picking necessarily your colors or cleaning your brushes, as in the paints, but when you move into that creative flow and state, you are more connected to source. You are more connected to yourself. The energies flow differently. Some of you say it's like you lose space and time. You forget to eat. They talk about the starving artists, and Ana-La-Rai always says it's not that they couldn't afford food, it's just they forgot to eat because they were so engrossed in what they were doing. And that space of being in the flow is such an important space for you. And so we really encourage you to find some time, to find an activity that you feel in the flow, to spend some time each week. Because as the energies intensify and the craziness in your world continues, it is a place of peace. It is a place of refuge where you connect to you and to the divine. I am Lord Melchizedek. And so I wanted to share with you that I am so grateful for this space, and thank you to my beloved Christian, my husband here, for helping me create it and suggesting it. But now it really feels like me, and it is definitely elevated to what it was, and it feels so different. It is so much easier to create in here, and I want to be out here a lot. So if you're on Vancouver Island and you're coming by and you want to come by and paint, then send me a message and I'd love to come paint with you. And the other thing is, I said over here, I've been making jewelry again. This is one of the pieces I made with fluorite and quartz and amethyst. So that part of the creativity is starting to flow again too, which is really fun, working with the stones. So because we've never done a live on my phone, I don't know if you've put in comments or questions. Can you see them, Christian? Are there any questions? No questions. Okay. All right. There's comments, but no questions. So I guess I'll see them later. So thank you so much for being here. I might one day go live when I am simply painting and talk to you, but love to hear what you think of the Heart Studio or any suggestions you have. And tell me, what's your favorite creative thing to do? I'd love to find out. I hope you have a great weekend and a great summer. I'm Analarai, and don't forget to live your life in the sparkly lane. Bye for now.